Hey guys, I'm Sparkster28 and welcome to episode 2 of Read and Rate. Yeah, I know it's been a long time since I've done a new episode. Episode 1, that was back on August 17th. The reason why it took so long is that I was kind of wondering whether or not I should keep this going because, it wasn't doing well view-wise as well compared to my, discussion videos and all that. And I wanted to keep doing discussion videos, but I don't know. The thing is, with discussion videos, I have to sit down. I don't get a lot of time to do this. I only get a couple of days off, and there are times I just want to do other things. But doing these reading rates, this is easier to do. Plus, I enjoy doing this a lot too. So, even if it doesn't get a lot of views, I want to keep doing this. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get this one started. Today, I'll be reading a few various video game stories. So, yeah, and you'll be seeing some Smash Bros. Gameplay in the background. I believe it'll be Super Smash Bros. Legacy XP, a little bit of that, and then mostly it'll be Smash Wii U. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so the first story I'll be reading today is called Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Demo Version. So a creepypasta for Smash Bros. Interesting. I haven't seen too many of those, but then again, I don't know. When it comes to looking for creepypastas, I just go to the Some Ordinary Gamers wiki, and I just look at what's in the recommended section and what's trending. So that's mostly where I look. That's mostly where I look. Sometimes I do try and look for specific ones, but yeah. Let's just get into this one. So let's see what it is. I am an avid Super Smash Bros. Fan. I love everything about it. The fighting mechanics, the roster, the variety of modes, everything. However, I was traumatized after seeing what you were about to hear. The final Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct had just finished, and I went to the Switch eShop to pre-order the game. However, I saw on the eShop Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Demo Version. Huh, that's strange, I thought, as I'm sure this would have been announced during the Direct. Nevertheless, I downloaded it. Oh, how I wish I could take it back. The intro played, and it was very similar to Melee's intro, with all the other characters, of course. Then, strangely, I had somehow bought the entire game. Confused, I went to the normal Smash mode and was ready to play stocks. I played on WarioWare Incorporated, but when I got to the character select screen, I was very confused. All the characters were unlocked, plus Piranha Plant and the 5 DLC characters. I didn't know whether to feel happy about Joker being in Smash or confused about everything. I just selected Snake and got ready to fight. When I got into the fight, everyone was a me. My me. Also very odd. However, I still kept playing the micro games in WarioWare. When I killed the final stock of the final me, yet another odd thing happened. However, this one was the oddest. The game didn't stop and I didn't go to the victory screen. All 3 me came back and they beat me up. I got knocked off the stage and the next thing I saw was horrifying. Galeem from World of Light came in a cutscene. It was the same World of Light cutscene shown in the Direct, but instead when Galeem shot those laser beams, everyone was vaporized but Kirby was caught. The aftermath of what I saw was horrifying. Everyone was dead, with a lot of blood and guts everywhere. The camera went over the landscape, and in the center was my me, lying dead, intestines around him, both eyes This is gouged out. I think it's supposed to be gouged out. Both eyes gouged out, blood everywhere. All of a sudden, I saw flashing lights and static. Then everything went black. I woke up in a hospital where doctors around me were clamoring. Apparently I had a seizure and my roommate, yes I am in college, noticed and called 911. When I got home the demo was wiped off of my Switch. However, my Mac had a new email from Nintendo. Translated from Japanese it read, "Dear name withheld. We at Nintendo apologize for the things you had to see. An insane game developer made this ROM hack. He has since been fired. However, he was able to sneak this evil hack disguised as a demo onto the Nintendo Switch eShop. Luckily, only you got it to appear before we stopped it from being on the worldwide eShop. This man has been placed in a mental asylum. If you see a report of someone else getting this demo, contact us immediately. From Nintendo of Japan." So this was all an evil ROM hack. It all made sense now. I will still buy this game, but if any trace of the hack appears, I will throw my Switch out a window. If you see this hack, contact Nintendo immediately, because I do not want anyone seeing the same horrifying images I did. The image of my Mii's dead body still gives me nightmares. And that's it. Okay. It was a bit short. It's kind of, I don't know. This one was kind of not very good. I mean, someone made a ROM hack where they made Smash Bros. More violent, kind of like Mortal Kombat. But it's like, I really don't think they need to be thrown in an insane asylum for that. They just took a fighting game and made it more like Mortal Kombat. I really don't think you need to be thrown in an asylum for that. I know this is a story, but still, come on. And it's one of those. It's another one of those predictable stories. Oh, someone gets this hacked version of a game, and it's all dark, it's violent, and all that shit. And yeah, and oh, it didn't have the cliche of the game talking to him or any of the characters talking to him. I will say that it didn't have that cliche. That's a cliche I see so fucking much. But yeah, it did have the one where, like, oh, he gets knocked out or something and he wakes up in a hospital, so there's that. But what am I going to rate this story? It wasn't god-awful. It was, like I said, just kind of short, cliche. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. Yeah. Like I said, I don't have an official rating system. I just pulled these ratings out of my ass. But yeah, 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 for this one. Okay, next up. Okay, so story 2 today will be Animal Crossing Dead Town. So in Animal Crossing Creepypasta, this could be interesting. I wonder if it's going to be about, like, the villager killing everyone. Like the whole Killager thing they did for Smash, though. That might be more of a Smash Creepypasta. But anyway, let's see what this one's about. So I once thought nothing scary could ever happen to me, but when I got my hands on an Animal Crossing game, everything changed. You would think that it's just Animal freaking Crossing and it couldn't have been that scary, but I'm going to tell you my story. No ghosts were involved as far as I can tell, but I could be wrong. It all started harmless enough, but that's often the case, right? I was bored one day and decided to open my 3DS to check out what games were available. As I browsed the eShop, I noticed Animal Crossing New Leaf was on the list of popular games. I heard from a friend that Animal Crossing was a great game and I ultimately decided to buy it. I'm a fan of having a hard copy of games so I can add to my literal library of games, so I went out and tried to find a copy of the game. I started at Fred Meyer's as that is an easy place to find some new games, but they were sold out. I tried Walmart, but they didn't have one either. Was I going to resort to garage sales? No, too easy to get a hacked or broken game. I went to my last hope, GameStop. I thought of coming here first, but decided against it. As I entered the store, everything was oddly silent. It was completely void of people besides the cashier. When he saw me, he was overjoyed, literally shouting, "Finally, a customer!" before asking what I wanted. We started up a small conversation about games to come out soon, Pikmin 3 to be specific. He said that he didn't like the looks of it, but I kept my trusty outlook. It's Pikmin, not much that can ruin it. He brought up Pikmin 2, but I told him the only thing it truly lacked was the time limit. After a long discussion, I told him that I was looking for Animal Crossing New Leaf, and he seemed to question my judgment. I gave him my reasons and he went with it. He pointed me over to the 3DS games and I searched for a few minutes, keeping some discussions going with the guy so the silence wouldn't get to us. After sifting through the games around 3 times, I told him there wasn't a copy on the shelf. He seemed confused and walked over to check himself. After finding no copies, he told me he would look around behind the counter. He found a single copy, new and untouched. He still seemed confused and told me why. They had gotten new stock recently enough and no customers had come in today, so there should have been several copies available. I simply told him that he might have lost count or maybe the shipment was wrong. He said that was unlikely, but it does happen sometimes. He got the game and also gave me an old Jak and Daxter game for the inconvenience. It wasn't that considerate considering they were having a sale on old PS2 games, each was only $5, but I wasn't about to refuse as I had recently lost my own copy. As I got home, I was eager to get started. There was nothing more I wanted than to sit down and play, so I plugged in my 3DS charger, put the game in, and began playing. It was completely normal, I think. I was on a train, a cat person walked up to me, asked my name and where I was going, and let me select the map I wanted to play on. As the train stopped at the town, my character was greeted as the mayor by mistake. I got a massive debt to a raccoon, and I continued the rest of the tutorial part. I had paid back the loan on the first day, and my house was scheduled to be complete the next day. I hated waiting events, so I saved and quit, switched the game's date to the next day, and continued playing. My house was complete, and I got a list of tasks. I finished them, and everything was once again going to continue the next day. At this point, it was a bit late, so I went to sleep. When I got up, I got my 3DS ready and began playing the game again. I did several small tasks and had the day's events complete quickly. At this point, I was able to create buildings, tomorrow, and began work on a fountain. Just before I quit for the day, I noticed that there was another house being built. A new resident was going to move to the town. At this point, I was growing quite fond of my residence, so I honestly couldn't wait until this new guy moved in. I checked the sign in front of his plot of land and found that his name was Reaper. Well, I've seen weirder names. The only other interesting event that day was that I got stung by bees. When I got back to the game the next day, I was surprised to see that Reaper's house wasn't done. The only thing there was a door, but the weirdest part was that I had the option to go through it. I decided against it. What good would it do to enter a door to nowhere? I continued collecting money and preparing for the next loan and project. I was soon done and bored, so I saved and quit. It was late the next night when I got back to the game. The first odd thing I noticed was that everyone looked a bit sad about something and were gathered around the town center. They all said the same thing. What happened to him? And I couldn't figure out why. I looked around for my favorite character, Deli, only to find that he was nowhere to be seen. I figured he would be at his house, so I went over, only to find his house in ruin. The roof was collapsed and the door was on the ground in several pieces. The strange thing here was that the door looked like it had been slashed apart by some sort of sword or other weapon. I walked around, sad and angry about Deli's house and disappearance. As I passed Reaper's house, I saw that another piece of his house was complete. I couldn't find out what happened to Deli, but I felt it had something to do with Reaper. I did the usual stuff and saved and quit. I got on early the next day to find a new resident that didn't seem to have a house. It was a bit creepy to look at him, as he wore black and frequented Deli's destroyed house. He was also a monkey like Deli, but his fur was black and his face was red, an odd color choice for such a normally cheerful name. When I tried to talk to him, all he said was Lucy, another resident's name. Lucy was a pig and had a very cheerful attitude. I became worried and ran over to her house, but found she was fine. I continued my normal routine and found that no progress had been made on Reaper's house. As I saved and quit, I swore I saw the door to Reaper's house open. I started the game again, the next day obviously, and found out shortly that Lucy had disappeared. I quickly ran over to her house to find that her house had collapsed, the door slashed apart. A new character was near her house. This character was just as creepy as the one at Deli's house, but was completely white and semi-transparent. This character was also a pig like Lucy. I began connecting the dots, but I wasn't completely sure. As I passed Reaper's house, I noticed more of it was complete. I knew something was unnatural about this character. I walked around, did the normal things, spoke with the ghost character, who said another character's name, and walked back to Reaper's house. The door was still closed. I watched carefully as I opened the pause menu. Nothing yet. I moved the cursor to save and quit. Still nothing. I pressed the button, and the moment the screen became faded black, the door opened, and something poked its head out for a split second before the screen went black. I immediately loaded up the game and went to find the character the ghost spoke about. As I reached the house, I noticed in the corner of my screen a robed figure. The moment it saw me, it bolted. I followed it and it ran to Reaper's house, into the open door, and the door slammed shut. I figured I had saved the day, so I quit and felt at ease. This time everyone seemed scared by something. I went to each character's houses, and all of them were fine besides the victims. Reaper's house had absolutely no changes, but I felt it as if I was in danger there. When I went to the town center, I found that the tree had burned. The charred black bark of the tree seemed to be some sort of death threat. I wasn't really scared, just angry. I was angry that whatever it was thought it could threaten me. I walked to the town hall and continued the normal routine, and to my surprise, Isabel was perfectly normal. Maybe the town hall was a safe haven from the weird things. I went about my business as usual and quit the game. I got on again to find that my house was destroyed and my character was now the same as the other ghost characters. My character wouldn't move at all, so I quit and started as a new character. Even as I did, weird things were happening. The cat asked where I was going, but the moment I told him, he asked why I would want to go to that cursed place. He suggested that I change my mind, to which I said no. As my character got off the train, he was greeted by a robed figure who said nothing. He walked away, and I walked around, noting the destroyed houses. When I saw Isabel walking around, I knew something was wrong. Isabel doesn't leave the town hall, even if I think she should. Isabel was my favorite character because of her attitude towards both her work and helping the mayor. She seemed absolutely heartbroken when I saw her. When I spoke to her, she would only ask why the mayor had to die. I ran over to Reaper's house and found that it wasn't only closer to complete, it was actually complete. I walked inside and saw the corpses of each character that died. Deli was impaled and hung up on the wall, Lucy's limbs were cut off and she was lying on the ground, and the mayor, Well, he was all over the place, literally. His limbs were hung up on the wall of hanging from the ceiling, his eyes were on a nearby table, and his head was in the corner. I was horrified. The robed person walked into the room. He only said one thing. "Do you like my decorations?" I caught them on myself. I wanted to get out of there, but Reaper was in the way. Each time I would try to leave, he would reply with, "Leaving so soon? The party's only just begun." Out of desperation, I went to my inventory and found it filled with only one type of item. It was some sort of Japanese spiritual seal. I quickly used it. My character threw it onto the robed person, who immediately disappeared with a scream. I walked outside and immediately threw the seals all over the house. Once I did, I didn't feel like I was in danger anymore, but my heart was pounding. I couldn't believe that had just happened. I relayed the story to my neighbors, and whenever I mentioned Reaper, they got fidgety. The old man in the neighborhood brought me over to an old house covered in paper slips. He told me that they got a neighbor who liked to be called Reaper. After his arrival, 3 people in town went missing, their houses destroyed, one of which was the mayor. After that, the police found him and arrested him, but he disappeared afterwards and people became nervous. They immediately put seals on that house. Each person put a new seal onto it for each time they had an encounter that reminded them of him. The old man then handed me a seal. And that's it. So, that's the thing with these video game creepypastas. They're kind of typical, Someone gets... this person didn't claim to get a cursed or a hacked copy of Animal Crossing New Leaf, but you could still tell something was wrong with it. So, he's playing the game as normal. He sees something that shouldn't be in the game. It turns out it's creepy. He goes to that new person's house, and, they've killed everyone. They put their limbs everywhere in their house. They've decorated. And, yeah, it's like they were going to do it again to the new character he was playing as, but he quit the game. And he decides to shut off the game. He tells everyone about it, and this is like what happened in real life. This guy, he wanted to be called Reaper, and he was going around. People were disappearing. He was killing them, and he was using their parts to decorate his house. The police arrested him, but now he's missing all of a sudden. It's like, yeah, it wasn't terrible. It had a good length. It was longer than the previous one. It had a good length. This one, I'm reading the comments on here. People saying 10 out of 10. That is not a 10 out of 10. I'm sorry. That is not a 10 out of 10. It's 100% made up. Of course it is. As the creepypasta, they're all made up. My score... I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. So, 5 out of 10. Next. Okay, the third story I'll be reading is called The Doom Diary. I'm guessing from what I'm seeing in the description, it's about the video game Doom, so that's good. After an Animal Crossing one, I'm reading a Doom one. That's good. Doom Slayer and Isabel will be happy about this, so yeah. Let's see what this is about. During the month of June 1996, a scientist who took interest in people's reactions to TV shows or video games invited 5 players to a laboratory in an unknown location. The reason for this was because the scientist had been reading about some strange phenomenon occurring to several people who play Doom. Apparently, some of these phenomenons involved the player hearing strange noises from various areas in or around his or her home, or various objects being tossed/moved around the home. This scientist had become interested in these phenomena and had performed this experiment. The scientist also recorded a journal over the 1-month period. This journal contains all the events that occurred in this experiment. June 14th, 1996. The players have arrived. I led them to the room where the experiment would begin. This room was a medium-sized room with 5 personal computers with Doom installed against the southern wall, 5 beds against the western wall, and some bathroom stalls with sinks. Food will be provided for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. June 14th, 1996. Test log number 1. All 5 players were instructed to play on the PCs. No strange phenomenon occurred. June 15th, 1996. Test player number 1 complained of having a massive headache when he woke up at 10:23 a.m. None of the other players were affected. June 18th, 1996. All players reported hearing strange noises in the night. Most of them reported demonic laughter coming from the computer. Player 1 has had unusual behavior for the past 3 days. He refuses to speak to the scientist, so he'd rather write his messages on a notepad. June 18th, 1996. Night log number 1. At exactly midnight, a recorder was set up in the testing chamber. Security cameras were also installed. The footage showed Player 1 rolling about in bed. A shadowy figure was seen in the corner of the room. At exactly 2:26 a.m., Player 2 got out of the bed, then began to let out a blood-curdling scream. He began smashing into the walls and threw books onto the floor. He smashed a glass window in the east portion of the room, picked up a glass shard, and stabbed himself with it. June 23, 1996. Night log number 2. Demonic laughter heard on recorder audio. Security footage showed that the Dell Latitude had activated on its own. Right after, Player 1 had woke up to see why it had turned on. He began playing the game again. A voice was heard in the chamber, reportedly sounding like, "You're trapped in hell now." Player 1 then began screaming so loudly the nearest guard ran into the room and had to drag Player 1 out of the room. Strangely enough, the rest of the players slept soundly. Personal entry, June 27, 1996. I don't know what is going on. 2 more players were killed, both by unplugging the computers and electrocuting themselves. This leaves 2 more players. About the event of June 23, 1996, security guard, redacted, Harrison, reported that there was a picture of Player 1's family on the screen, all decapitated. This is very strange and frustrating. June 28, 1996, test log number 3, final test log. This is the report of the final test log before the players have to leave. A lot of demonic activity has been reported. Player 1 has been drawing pentagrams on his notepad and disturbing pictures such as a staff member being mauled by some sort of beast. Player 1 hasn't been acting normally so far, and I strongly recommend that he would see a psychiatrist. Player 2 has been normal ever since night log number 1. We let the players out of the chamber, then thank them for their contribution to the experiment. June 29th, 1996. Private log. A lot of the staff have complained about hearing strange noises in the nighttime. A night shift janitor even came to me asking if he could work the day shift. He told me that he hears voices in the bathroom and once even felt that someone was watching him. This could just be paranoia from the experiment, which I can't really consider normal or not. I have to look further into this. July 1st, 1996. Evacuation log. The entire laboratory is on lockdown. Apparently, a demonic creature of unknown nature somehow entered the lab and is killing off all of the staff. Approximately 16 laboratory workers are dead and nobody knows where the whereabouts are. A government official put the lab on lockdown until the creature is removed. The creature is somewhat red and has black eyes. It has extended claws and is running about the laboratory as I write this. It is only a matter of time before... The rest of this text had been blurred out by a lot of blood spilled on the page. The entire laboratory is now destroyed due to explosive material to cover up this event. Nobody knows the whereabouts of this creature or if it's still alive. Most of the bodies found at the laboratory were gruesomely mauled. One body had the torso separated from the legs with the organs sticking out. Other bodies found were decapitated or damaged in the upper torso region. One of the survivors of this disaster was taken away by government officials. The other one, a 36-year-old male, reported this. I really don't know how it happened. I saw one of my assistants being torn apart by a reddish beast. Then I hear the scientist guy is doing a test with a demonic game. It doesn't surprise me to say that I feel like it's still following me. The owner of this journal, John Wilson, was killed before he could escape. An autopsy report says that he was stabbed to death, ripped and torn until he was done. And that's it. This one was a little bit different. So it's the scientist gathers up 5 players and they're all playing Doom, and for some reason, like, demonic things start happening. I guess it's because in Doom you kill demons. I haven't played Doom yet, so I don't know too much about it, but yeah. This one I thought was a little more interesting. Oh, and something I forgot to say with the Animal Crossing one, it's cliche that, the bad thing or the killer is black and red. That's just cliche city right there. So, of course, this thing, this demon killing everyone is black and red. So, yeah. I thought it was said, it's a demon from the game, but no one said that. So, yeah. And, people are killing themselves. It's pretty much what you would expect from a video game creepypasta, so just like all the other ones I've read so far in this episode and other episodes. But this one was a little more interesting, so I'll give this one... give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah, do that. 3 out of 5. Okay, yep. Next! Okay, so this next one, this is the fourth one I'm reading, and this might be the last one for this episode. It's called Code Wii. So, a Wii creepypasta, so it's probably more about the games than about the system. I'm seeing Super Mario in the category, so it's probably about maybe Mario Galaxy. But let's find out. I never knew how bad life could be. I thought nothing bad would ever happen to me since I was rich. My family is big and I have lots of friends. That was all good. But when this happened, I learned bad things do happen. But this was way overboard. I can't believe this happened. I'll tell you about it, but promise don't call me crazy. You may not believe this, but wait until you experience it for yourself. It was a sunny Saturday morning. I have a dark past, though. My parents were victims of a mugging. It had a big impact on our family, but mostly on me. Luckily, I now live with my aunt and uncle and my two cousins, Chad and Holly. Or should I say, I did. It was fun being with my favorite cousins full time. It was all fun and games until we finally got a Wii. We had almost every Nintendo console. The Wii was our most desired one. It would also finish our collection. The two games that came with it were Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. We tried 2. The game was 95% complete. All three of us were awestruck. I mean, how the hell did this happen? Me, being the relaxed person I usually am, told everyone that this might have been a used copy. They agreed, and we found out that the Shiverburn Galaxy was the one that needed completion. All three of us went to the Shiverburn Galaxy. We found out that the mode of first person, where you view the world in first person... Wait, what? We found the mode of first person where you view the world in first person. I had heard of an Easter egg in this game dubbed the Hell Valley Sky Trees. Out of curiosity, we looked up in the location they were supposed to be at. As usual, they were there, but when we looked at them, they looked different. They were smiling? Why? They never smiled. Holly told us, but this is where everything went to hell. Someone texted Chad on Google Hangouts. If you don't know what that is, it's a texting app where you can text your friends. We use a lot, and there's even video calling. The text wasn't from anyone he had seen before. Their profile picture was a British short-haired cat. The name of this person was simply God. They texted us a very mysterious message. Give us the Wii and we'll go easy on you. Chad didn't reply. Eventually, the mysterious person went offline and removed themselves from the group. I am a G Suite user, and this happened before Google Hangouts ended service for G Suite users. Day 2. We had school today. I skipped over to Monday because nothing happened on Sunday. My friends and I all chatted about the mysterious God profile in our chat. My Catholic friend instantly said it was God himself trying to purify my demon-infested Wii. Another theory was it was Holly being a prankster. The final theory that I had made and that we all stuck beside was that it was the Hell Valley Sky Trees. Speculation became a reality. I got home, ate leftover pizza from the night before, and got a headache from Chad's loud music in the living room. He was doing karaoke, which I hated because of his horrendous singing voice. You don't know what you're getting into. The same God person texted us again. I tried to video call this stranger, but it wouldn't access my video call. I'm calling this person it because you should obviously know that's not a person. I tried and tried until I gave up. I went downstairs. I forgot to do something that was important with the Wii. I had to make a me. I did that and I made a me that looked like me. I named him Adrian, my actual name. I played Wii Sports with it with no trouble until I went back to the Me channel. I heard a voice. It was gravely and inhumane. It sounded nowhere near normal. You thought you could make something without the pass? My me faded away from the Me channel. In its place was a Hell Valley Sky Tree. A speech bubble appeared on top of it. Heed my warning or suffer the dire consequences. Hi. I looked behind myself and I was shocked. A green alien-like creature was behind us. His feet were just one spike. His hands were different. His left hand had 5 fingers while the other was a green brick thing. His eyes were pitch black and he was smiling. My name is Lev. I'm going to help you. How are you going to help me? I asked, scared and confused. At this point, fear had overcome my body. I began panting and stuttering. This Lev thing shushed me and began to speak once again. I am one of those things, but I was abused and forgotten. Nintendo made sure there was no trace of me ever being in the game. So, you need my help and I need your help? Yes. I fainted from all the adrenaline. The fear I was experiencing at that moment, I had a nightmare that night. I don't remember most of it, but what I do remember is absolutely disgusting. It involved my family, including me, in the Shiverburn Galaxy, drenched in an unrecognizable orange glow. Everything wasn't very good. No, it wasn't good at all. We saw the Hell Valley Skytrees drop down from the huge mountain they were normally on. The tiny one walked up to me and yelled at me just like an army sergeant at military school. We, we warned you, now you got to pay the price. Give us the Wii, we're not joking anymore. Leave them alone. Lev had jumped behind them. His face, he was so angry. No words can describe the anger I saw on Lev's face in my dream. Go away! They pushed him into the lava. He screamed and drowned and presumably died in the lava. The Hell Valley Skytrees no longer had that evil smile. Not even close. They had a look of anger across their faces. It wasn't cartoonish like the previous smile. No, it was one of pure anger. It resembled the resolve face from Miitomo. If you ever played Miitomo before its initial shutdown, or seen videos that showed the Me photo feature, you know that the resolve face wasn't cartoonish and was either realistically creepy or downright hilarious. I looked behind the Hell Valley Skytree that was currently in my face and saw a silhouette of a Hell Valley Skytree with a scarf, arms twice the size of normal and with very short legs. It was making unhuman, diabolic, and satanic poses. I don't remember anything else after that, and I don't think I want to, ever. Day 3. My uncle was acting strange today. When he came home from work, he didn't even say hi. He just went to his room. I could see visible bruises on his arms, which obviously meant something was up. Holly went to see what was wrong. He was in the corner talking to himself about God knows what. When we came up to the door, I heard him mention something that sounded like, they did this to me. They will pay the Hell Valley Sky Trees. I felt my heart stop for a second. I was completely shocked. How did he know about the Hell Valley Sky Trees? More importantly, how did he find out about the Hell Valley Sky Trees? He looked at us and we ran down to the basement. We didn't want to deal with him. Lev was there waiting for us. I didn't introduce Holly and Chad to him. It took a while, but they finally understood that he was friendly. Lev told us some shocking news. I saw what happened to him. I glanced through the window in the marshy woods nearby his workplace. It wasn't pretty. They attacked him while he was at work. You don't know how bad it was. Runaway co-workers, he was in deep pain. This is where I got yet another text. Did you see what we did to him? I replied, okay, I'm done. I will not give you the Wii no matter how scared I am. The reply was this. Since you didn't pay the price, we'll do it ourselves. You're really going to not like it. You should have just listened instead of refused. Finally, you will be dead. Prepare for your death. Chad just tried to believe that this was some sick joke, but Holly and I knew it was far from it. The school was on strike for the rest of the week, so we would go to bed later. I was only in grade 4 at the time, so I didn't know a lot of safety measures. Holly was in grade 6 and she currently was working on a safety project. We got our aunt to let us sleep in the basement. We should be safe down here, Holly whispered. How are we safe with the Wii down here? Lever replied as he hid in his hiding spot, a wooden box that he seemed to grow attached to. At about 3 in the morning, yeah, we were awake and playing Wii Sports being the stupid people we are, we heard banging at the door. We were about to glance out the window when my uncle told us to get downstairs. We did what we were instructed and went downstairs. My aunt was groggy and didn't know what was going on. They entered the building. You didn't listen to us. You have to pay the price. We couldn't believe that the Hell Valley Skytrees were real and in our house. What do you mean? My aunt asked. I told her they wanted the Wii for no reason, with Chad and Holly backing me up. I grabbed the bat and whacked one of them in the skull with it. It didn't do anything. It didn't even flinch. You thought that was going to kill him? I was petrified when I heard that. I was trying to find out who had said that. The Hell Valley Skytrees moved out of the way and revealed what was talking. This thing was red with short legs and long arms. It was wearing a baby blue scarf and its eyes and mouth were pitch black. I am Master Vel. Do you remember me? I analyzed it closer and closer. The memory was hazy, but I finally realized that this was the thing from my dream. You! I snapped. Yes, it's me. Then they fled, and there was no trace of them the next day. We kept the door locked for the rest of the night. This was going to get so much worse. Day 4. At school, I kept having visions of horrible things happening, including the Hell Valley Skytrees. You can never die, but I can. That phrase went through my mind all day. My teacher, Mr. McCormoose, noticed. "What's up?" he asked. "Something weird happened to me last night." "Okay, but get to work," he replied. We didn't speak to each other again that day. We all decided to video call on Google Hangouts after school. Midway into the call, when I told them about the Hell Valley Skytrees, Holly's friend, Callie, began acting strangely. She was chanting some phrase that left a distinct memory in my mind. "Kill it! Kill it! Kill the we now!" I began having more visions I still don't understand. I was in the basement at the time and was in on the call. Chad was in the living room at the time and was in on the call. And Holly was in her room at the time and was on the call. She asked Callie why she was saying that. "Because of its power!" My visions changed to the ones of Mario Galaxy 1. It's from what I could see. I still don't know why I was having visions. As things were getting worse, the God person joined. It didn't turn on its webcam. "Hello." Like what we did, the thing spoke out. "What have you done, you brute?" I exclaimed without thinking. "Keep playing Super Mario Galaxy 2 and you will get the answer." I knew it wasn't a choice. I had to know why they did this. "Okay, let's do it. There's more we need to discover," Lev told me. I regret doing that. All of that. I put the game in the system and only one galaxy was open. Nightmare Galaxy. The name itself was pretty cliche, but it was enough to get me thinking. That galaxy. I was going to be there. What? Really? Yes, I was going to be a Hell Valley Skytree inside of that galaxy. Oh, okay. God, I muttered as I went into the galaxy. Chad, while on the call, obviously heard the offer and came down. He saw me playing and made an expression. It was a mix of fear and anger. I looked at him. He startled me pretty bad. "Oh my God, Chad, that's not funny." Without saying a word, he stomped back upstairs. I continued to play. Chad still whined like a little child, despite being older. So I thought this was one of his episodes and paid no mind. The galaxy looked absolutely perplexing. It was all corrupted and looked like a mishmash between Shiverburn and Gusty Garden. But Gusty Garden was never in Super Mario Galaxy 2. Hell Valley Skytrees on the mountains, no enemies, and total darkness. I made Mario trudge through this mess of a Mario level. The layout was just a flat space with only a few holes and platforms. I guess it wanted me to see the scenery. I called my friend Bertram and told him what was going on. He was a total skeptic and didn't believe me even when I sent the pictures, so he wasn't reliable. I wanted to tell the news about my encounter, but I was worried that they would all think I was crazy. Believe me, I know what it's like to be called crazy over a true experience. For what seemed like hours, the end of the level finally arrived, but at the end, I ran into the Hell Valley Skytrees. They were 2D textures, nothing more, nothing less. Are you ready to finally see the truth? That very text on Hangouts is what finally pushed me to my breaking point. I began to yell. I wanted them to leave me alone, to leave my family alone. After that ordeal, a black screen came on with the text "Code We" on it. The mugshot of a man in his 40s appeared on screen. This was the guy who killed my parents. He was identical to the man I saw in the pictures. The image turned into a video. Now he was against a brick wall wearing a blue ski mask. The phrase, "Save me, God," was spray painted on the wall behind him. Like a savage, he ripped his mask off, then he yelled at the top of his lungs. "I did this for Val. You are the one they wanted since the beginning. Just give up now. It was already over. Your life was already ruined the moment you were born. Leave the we to the demons and finally embrace it. Finally give up your soul and be free." I watched in absolute awe as he pulled out a .22 revolver, put it against his head, and laughed as he shot himself. The video ended with the message, "You made an unforgivable mistake," on a blue background. What the... Lev managed to stutter out. It was obvious he was just as terrified as I was. I was crying softly now. The soft crying turned into weeping, which was entered into sobbing. Holly came down the stairs and saw me with Lev trying to comfort me. We heard something crawl through the vent above us. We got ourselves into a battle sense, but nothing happened. I just went to bed. I didn't want to deal with it, not at the moment. Day 5. It was a GameCube game. The picture was of a void with the words, "Dolphin Test." Playing it with Holly, I had almost every Nintendo console. I found out it was the Princess Peach Castle test demo for the GameCube, but everything looked slightly different. 1. The map in the lobby was a pic of a dragonfly's face up close with the caption, "A New Face." 2. The part with the shiny pillow was different. The pillow was a bunch of ridiculous shades of red. 3. I was following a black arrow. The arrow would run away from me when I followed it. Finally, when I cornered it, it looked at me and the code Wii screen appeared once more before showing an image of a demented Mario. It was a sprite of Mario, eyes missing with blood in the sockets mostly. There was blood around his mouth. He was smiling, but I could see the look of fear on his face as if he was pretending to smile. The game shut off and I was baffled. I cried myself to sleep that night. All I thought about was that image. Day 6. My God, this was a nightmare. I had come home from school to see a note on my table. Dear Victim 13, we will be back. What? I did research on this and found out 12 people went missing and were never found after buying a black Wii with Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 bundled in with it. I was done. I was not going to deal with this anymore. I texted them stating, "It's over. Stop this." Without thinking, I broke my television out of anger. I got into a heck of trouble. I was sent to my room. Chad and Holly were trying to defend me, but it was useless. In my room, I decided to play Game Boy Advance. I put Donkey Kong Country in and played it. But something was off. The contrast was lower. Occasionally, I could see the game turn to static for a fraction of a second. The enemies would charge at me when they saw me. The game's music was confusion from Mother 3. No, it never stopped. Diddy Kong was not present in the game, although he was in the intro. I heard what happened, Lev said to me. Lev was apparently in my room looking for evidence to support my case. It's okay, I calmly replied. I looked back at my game and saw this happen. The Hell Valley Skytrees and Vel were in front of the exit of Reptile Rumble. Hey there, Vel cackled. I was not very surprised anymore. I did not want this to happen, that's all. You are different from my other victims. You just won't give up. I was now shocked. I realized it there. These things are killers, killing anyone who dares buy this Wii. Normally the victims would do what is said, but for me, I would not give up. This caused them to go those extra miles, taking what I love and corrupting it. This was no longer a game. This was a personal situation, a sick one, that's for sure. Now I was no longer dealing with them. I was keeping the Wii. So, what do you say now? The small Hell Valley Skytree asked. No, you can't take it from me. Bad move. I then passed once I saw Master Vel in my room in front of me. Day 7. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Lev's voice, all I could hear was that. I woke up in a strange forest. There was nothing other than floating objects that I couldn't really see, and the sky was a sickening shade of orange and the trees were pitch black. He took it all, Holly told me. Just now I seemed to notice that Chad was missing from the group. Hey, where's Chad? I asked. Wait, we don't know. I don't know where he could be. I don't know what he could be doing, Lev replied. I got up and began walking down the forest. I realized that these were my memories from that home. I saw the couch, my bed, some of our gaming consoles, my aunt's kitchen knife, Holly's lamp, my uncle's coffee mug. At the end I could see the Wii and a lava pit. Chad's fate was here. Behind the Wii we saw something. Chad was on a floating island. His feet were glued to the ground. He was crying for help. We have a deal for you. I saw the Hell Valley Skytrees jump down and confront us. They gave me an option. Either Chad dies or we give them the Wii. This was a problem. Even though it might seem like it wasn't a problem, it was actually very complicated to make a decision. If I chose to keep the Wii, Chad would die. But if I chose to give them the Wii, they could hurt more people, and some would probably end up in the same state that I'm in. I chose to keep the Wii no matter what these sick tricks were. We watched in horror as the island crashed down on the ground. Chad fell to the ground. He didn't get back up. Why did you do that? Holly asked me with tears in her eyes. They could kill more people if I gave them the Wii. I'm sorry for your brother's loss, but I didn't have a choice, I replied. What other stuff are you going to do to us? Lev snapped. Get rid of you. They picked up Lev and threw him into the lava pit, just like in my dream. Holly grabbed the kitchen knife and took her own life by slitting her throat. I ran off. I can't believe I did this. This is not how I wanted it to end. But it wasn't all over unless I could save myself. I found the dream catcher I made in Grade 1. I picked it up and everything went white. Epilogue. I'm back at my home dimension. I am currently in custody of my other aunt and uncle. I am in grade 7 now. My family is currently investigating what happened to them. They won't believe me about the Hell Valley Skytrees. No one will. Even though I should have been a credible witness because I was living with them. I know what happened was real. All of it was real. I know it was. If you see it, destroy it. I have not seen the Wii since this, but I hope whoever finds it does the right thing. This whole thing is why I have severe PTSD. The only real proof I have after that is a sheet of paper that says, Code Wii. And that's it for that one. That one That one really needed some polish. The writing and the spelling and the grammar was just all over the place. Other than that, the concept was interesting. I haven't heard about the Hell Valley Sky Trees in a long time for Super Mario Galaxy, so that really caught my interest. So, I mean, other than that, it had the typical cliches. Someone, Mario having the missing eyes and blood in the sockets, blood smile, all that stuff. That's typical. People killing themselves, people dying because of a haunted game, or in this case, give me the console, or I kill your cousin, which happened. Like, you picked a console over your cousin. I mean, yes, I know they could potentially hurt more people with the console, but that's your cousin, man. Come on. But yeah, and then his other cousin took her own life. And now, all of a sudden, he gets his dream catcher that he made in grade 1, and now he's living in a different dimension. So, it didn't say if there was another him or not. There probably isn't. I don't know. Or maybe there is. But, yeah. This is probably the best one I've read in this episode. So, yeah, pretty long, too. Like I said, it was kind of hard to read, like I said, because it really needs some polish. So, despite that, I think I'll give this one a 7 out of 10, yeah. If it had a bit more polish, I might have given it an 8, maybe even a 9. But because of all the spelling and grammar errors, I have to give it a 7. It was kind of hard to read. So, yeah. And, yeah. I don't think I'll do another one for this one, so let's just go ahead and do my epilogue. And that'll do for this episode of Read and Rate. So, overall, not too bad. I think that stories I read in the first episode, those Pokemon ones, were better than these. The only good ones I read here, I think Code Wii could have been interesting, like I said, if it just polished it up a little bit. I did like Doom Diary had potential too, yeah. The other ones, like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Demo and Animal Crossing Dead Town, those were pretty cliche, but yeah. Doom Diary and Code Wii did have potential. Code Wii needed some polish, and Doom Diary, I really don't know what else Doom Diary could have done to be better, but yeah. Okay, but yeah, that'll do for this episode of Read and Rate. Episode 2 is done. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. Don't forget to also like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon, follow me on Twitter, all the good social media jazz. And if you got any recommendations for stories you want me to read, also let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking for stuff to read, so yeah. I've got a few ideas too. I'm not going to say what they are because I don't want to spoil anything, but I've got some ideas for future read and rates, so if I can find the stories. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys next time. Make sure to wash your hands, keep your distance, wear a mask, and most important, have a great day. Bye.